Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, where OP gets robbed by her own mother. Will I be the butthole if I called the police on my mom for robbing me? Today, my mom came to watch the kids while I had a chemotherapy appointment at the hospital. She quickly left after I got back. I would have liked her to stay for a while because I'm not at my best, but at least my kids had supervision when I needed it. The problem is when I got home, my daughter was hungry. I'm not sure if she wasn't fed lunch or just hungry like usual. She kept looking in the fridge over and over. I went to help her get a snack because I'd stocked the fridge yesterday with a lot of groceries, including easy-to-eat prepared foods. Every single thing is gone. My mom must have bagged up all my groceries and took them home. I don't even have milk or apple juice for my kids. I've called her several times and she isn't picking up. I called my brother, who doesn't live with her, and he said that he would speak to her and get back to me. He's pissed. Should I call the police? I'm really thinking about it because it's several $100s of groceries I needed for the week, and being so close to Christmas, it's hard financially to replace it. Guys, what's worse, stealing from your own daughter or stealing from a chemotherapy patient? Or hey, both at the same time. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your mom, what the hell is wrong with her, gets 4 out of 5 buttholes. You know, come to think of it, she's stealing from her grandchildren too. What's wrong with this Grinch? You know, actually, come to think of it, that is a plot point in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He steals all the food and he takes the ice out of the ice cube trays. So yeah, your mom's a Grinch. Am I the butthole for leaving my friend's wedding dress shopping trip early after finding out at the dinner table that I wasn't a bridesmaid? So I'm a 32-year-old woman, and I've known this friend who's 32 since middle school. Let's call her Fran. We've drifted a bit over the years. Life, distance, careers in different industries, my own healing journey. But I've always considered her a chosen sister. Anytime we hung out, even if just once a year, it always felt like old times. And even though we didn't talk all too much, I always valued her friendship. Fran got engaged earlier this year. When I saw her in August, she asked me if I'd be willing to fly out, a 3-hour flight, to go wedding dress shopping with her and her best friend from elementary school. During that conversation, she told me I was the perfect person to go wedding dress shopping with. Talked to me about what color her bridesmaids' dresses should be, sage, not mint or emerald, and asked what we should do for her bachelorette. After coffee, she would even send me photos of outfits for the rehearsal dinner. So I assumed I would be in the bridal party. Not that I think this is owed or expected, but because of how she was talking to me about her wedding. I spent $500 on flights to go wedding dress shopping. In the middle of a government shutdown, mind you. There were 2 appointments for Saturday and 1 for Sunday. I came in Friday night, while the other girl was coming in Saturday morning. Fast forward to after the Saturday appointments. There's 7 of us, including significant others and siblings. Her brother, at the pizza joint communal table, casually asks, "So, what's your job in the wedding? I assume you're a bridesmaid." And Fran goes, "Oh, she's actually not," in front of everyone. No private conversation, no heads up, a public no. It was so awkward, I still cringe thinking about it. Later that night, she said, "I just want to acknowledge how awkward my brother made dinner." Newsflash, he did not make it awkward. I basically told her that I wasn't mad that I wasn't a bridesmaid. If I didn't make the cut, it's fine. But it was the approach in which how I was told. I could have been told Friday night prior to the other girl coming in. I could have been told Saturday morning when we spent the whole morning together. But I wasn't. I wasn't told prior to booking a $500 flight and spending $100 on Ubers to get to her and celebrate her that weekend. This conversation evolved into her telling me she just can't come to me for big things anymore. And she felt extremely distant to me for years. So I'm sitting there like, then why am I here? I was really hurt and spent the night and morning crying. So I booked an earlier flight home on Sunday and skipped the final dress appointment. I didn't want to show up puffy-eyed and have it be awkward. As I left, I texted her and her fiancé. I woke up with a sore throat. I decided to take an earlier flight home. Thanks for opening up your home to me. And she responds hours later saying, "Hope you feel better. Thanks for coming up this weekend." Since then, radio silence. She didn't even text me a happy birthday or happy Thanksgiving. For the record, I genuinely am not mad about not being a bridesmaid. I'm hurt because she let me fly out and emotionally show up for her, and then humiliated me in a public setting. So, am I the butthole for leaving early and not reaching out first? Honestly, OP, I find it confusing as to why she even invited you in the first place. She doesn't seem to value you or like you. So, why did she want you to fly out to go dress shopping, especially when she has a friend that she clearly values more? It almost seems like she invited you out intentionally to embarrass you and to make you waste your own money. Am I reading too deep into this? Then OP posted an update. OP contacted her friend and said, "Look, if I didn't make the cut, it's fine. But it sucks. You would have always been in my bridal party for if and when that happens. Your whole family would have been invited to my wedding. And on my front, it's disappointing to not feel valued in the way that I value you. But I completely understand, and I still love you and would do anything for you. I would have appreciated you saying, 'Hey, I wanted to let you know that we're keeping the bridal party small and I'm having such and such in my party. But I still want you to be part of the process, so I would love for you to come with me to the wedding dress fitting.' That's all I wanted." It really spiraled, and my friend at one point deadpan looked at me and said, "Look, you didn't make the cut. That's it. What more do you want?" And when I said, "Wow, that's a little savage," she fired back with, "You said that. Those were words out of your mouth." Then she also said, "If you didn't want to come to the wedding, I get it," which was hurtful because that seemed like she didn't want me there, and this was her out to not invite me. Yeah, OP, I don't know what your friend's issue is. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your weird friend 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for laughing about a pretend allergy? My parents gave up wanting the responsibilities of making a Thanksgiving meal about 5 years ago. My house is big enough to host, and I enjoy cooking, so for the past 3 years, the duties have fallen to me. I make the turkey, the stuffing, mashed potato, and gravy and rolls. Others bring sides and things like chips and drinks. This year, my brother and his wife came into town early and stayed over. Thanksgiving mid-morning, my sister-in-law wanders into the kitchen while I'm making stuffing. She sees my pile of breadcrumbs, celery, onion, sausage in a bowl, and me sauteing mushrooms. She says, "What are those for?" I told her they were for the stuffing. She puts her hands on her hips and says, freaking out, "You can't put mushrooms in the stuffing. I'm allergic." I was stupefied. I said, "When did this happen?" And she just looked at me like I was an idiot, so I said, "When did you discover you're allergic to mushrooms?" She scoffed and said, "I've always been allergic." Now, the thing is, when I make my stuffing, I like things to be well incorporated, and I always chop the mushrooms small after I saute them. So they're not actually visibly apparent in the mix as mushrooms among the other ingredients. I burst out in a laugh and said, "Well, that's interesting because you weren't allergic last year and you weren't allergic the year before." She asked me what I meant, and I told her I'd been making stuffing like this every year she's eaten it. And furthermore, she raved over it and had 0 allergic reactions. So maybe she's not allergic. Maybe she just thinks she doesn't like mushrooms. She got pissed and went to my brother to tell him, and she told him she wanted to leave, but he wanted to stay. So she spent the entire rest of the day shooting daggers at me with her eyes. They were supposed to stay through the weekend, but they left Thanksgiving night. I confided in my mom and my sister yesterday, and they kinda chuckled and said it's not my fault. But my brother texted me this morning that I could have just not used the mushrooms, and that I made his wife feel stupid for no reason. I maintain that I didn't make her feel anything. Am I the butthole? Well, the woman is stupid for no reason. So regardless of whether or not you made her feel that way, she is quite dumb. Then OP posted an update. My brother admitted that my sister-in-law, who has been eating my stuffing for a few Thanksgiving now, didn't know there were mushrooms in those either. Neither has she told anyone, not my brother, her husband, not my mother, sister, me, of any allergies before now, because she doesn't have any. Apparently, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, she has like a phobia, I guess you would call it. Maybe that's not the right word, but after watching a TikTok video about some edible mushrooms growing on dead skin on feet or in human bodies, she believes she can be infected by eating them. My brother tried reassuring her that this wouldn't happen, but she cited other videos she's watched about spores, including the show The Last of Us, which he explained is fiction created from a video game. but she swears it's based on fact and still possible. I feel like we have bigger problems here than stuffing. I've encouraged him to try to get her to see a doctor to talk about this. Yeah, she is an idiot. I don't think she has to worry about mushrooms infecting her brain because I don't think there's that much food in there for them to feed off of. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving the sister-in-law like 0.5 out of 5 buttholes, but I'm giving her 4 out of 5 on the stupidity scale. Am I the butthole for not allowing my mom to bring her boyfriend to Thanksgiving? My wife and I are hosting our first Thanksgiving in our new house, and we're having some conflicts surrounding my mom's boyfriend, Rick, and if he should attend or not. My mom has been with Rick for a few years, and he's always been polite to us, though a bit standoffish to us, and clingy with my mom. I thought everything was good, until over the summer, right after our wedding, my mom called my wife while she was in the car with Rick. My mom was using CarPlay and seemed to think she hung up when she didn't. My wife overheard Rick ask my mom if I made a lot of money. I don't know if this is relevant, but Rick and my mom are both loaded. My mom asked why, and Rick said that he thought that my career usually paid well. And then he was like, "I'm a dick for saying this, but his wife is not pretty. I'd think he could afford better." My mom immediately told him off for being gross, but my wife was absolutely gutted. She called me crying, and I immediately called my mom and lost my cool. She was so embarrassed and apologized profusely. I believe my mom genuinely would never want to hurt us, but that doesn't change what he said. Rick apologized as well, but honestly, F him. The issue is that Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and my wife never wants to see Rick again. My mom feels that we're being unfair and that we should forgive him as he gave a genuine apology. And he never intended for anyone to hear that. She said she's sure that we have conversations that we would never want anyone to hear. I told her he absolutely cannot come, but I really hope that she will. Ultimately, my mom decided to spend Thanksgiving with Rick, and now the rest of the family is pissed at me. My aunt said that I'm being a selfish brat when my mom has put me first my entire life. And my grandma said my wife needs to grow up and accept that he might not find her attractive. Okay, that's a really stupid argument. Obviously, he's not obligated to find your wife attractive. But he did insult your wife, and your wife heard it. So for you to then turn around and let this guy who insulted your wife into your house would just make you spineless. I wouldn't allow Rick over at my house either. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Rick gets 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for not being more discreet at the store for my son? My 9-year-old son is upset with me right now for an incident that happened yesterday at the store. Yesterday, we were at the store to stock up on groceries. It was me, a 37-year-old woman, my 9-year-old son, and my 7-year-old daughter. My son still wets the bed and wears good nights, which are big kid pull-ups for bedwetting. And we went and got those first like we always do so that we can hide them underneath other stuff. It went pretty good for most of the trip, but there was an issue when we got to checkout. I was unloading the last of the groceries when I heard my son say, in a kinda worried voice, "No, Mom, please stop," but I'd already put his good nights on the belt. I asked him what was wrong. He pointed out that his friend was at the store with her parents and might see us, and he didn't want her to see his good nights. I said it'd be okay and put the last of the other groceries around his good nights so nobody would see them. We got our stuff rang up and left with no problems, but my son didn't say a word to me on the car ride home. Later, I asked him what was making him so upset. He said he didn't want his friend to see his good nights, and that's why he wanted me to stop unloading the groceries, and said that I was being a jerk for not stopping and his friend almost seeing them. I explained to him that I never meant to make him feel bad. I just needed to get the groceries unloaded so they could be rung up. But this didn't help, and he said I was being a jerk and didn't talk to me for the rest of the evening, and was very quiet at breakfast today. I asked him if he was still upset, and he said yes, because I was a jerk. Yo, I'm on the kid's side. If the school found out that he was wetting his bed at the age of 9, it would basically end his social life for the next 10 years, until high school was over at minimum. OP, you get 1 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your son 0 out of 5 buttholes. That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.